Now then, we move on to the Money in the Bank.
Yes, now we move to the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Which, the start of the match, Shinsuke gets taken out by Baron Corbin. Fine. Here's the problem. Man, listen, I bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch about how they book Shinsuke. This does not help him. This type of booking where he's absent for 5/6 of the match does not help him. I understand that he's a big name and you guys are trying to ride that out, but he's a big name in New Japan. He's a big name at NXT. The casual fan does not know who Shinsuke Nakamura is. The people sitting there who don't know who he is just hear, oh, people are singing this song, I'm going to sing it with them. Not really know what the fuck they're singing. This is a problem. I don't want Shinsuke to be another guy. Because Shinsuke is not another guy. And I know that someone's going to say, well, he got to battle one-on-one with AJ. Stop. Stop it. That's not a real battle. That's a battle within a battle that's going to fall to the wayside. I'm sure it'll be brought up. I doubt they're going to talk about it enough for people to remember it for a month, to the next pay-per-view, to pay-per-view after that. I doubt it'll be a big deal. They'll probably build off
just for
something
that,
else based off of
I'm
that.
going to make it a big deal.
It needs to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we just saw for like 4 minutes, maybe 5, maybe 6, I don't fucking know, Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles, which is a repeat of the match they had in New Japan, which, mind you, on the pay-per-view that they were on, was the match of the fucking night. Shinsuke beat him, but match of the fucking night. I understand that you feel that they are just two guys who are big names. People are going to eat it up regardless, and we did to a certain degree. But
You got hyped as fuck.
I got super high. I marked the fuck out. I don't mark out often, but I marked the fuck out on this. But here's the thing. I'm a hardcore fan. I've been watching wrestling since I was 6. That was WCW. I think I jumped to WWE when I was 9 or 10, maybe a little bit older. No, 10 is when I jumped to WWE.
Now he's just old.
Now I'm just old as fuck. Listen, here's the thing. If I'm a casual fan, and this one dude that I've seen do 1 singles match, 2 tag team matches, never watched NXT, but apparently he's supposed to be this big fucking deal, get knocked out at the beginning of a pay-per-view match, coming for the last 7 to 10 minutes to Kinshasa, whatever the fuck that means, a bunch of the guys that I actually know, then go one-on-one with AJ to lose and let Baron Corbin win? How does that elevate him? How does that put him into main event status? How does that do anything major for Shinsuke? And this is why I harp on this so much. Shinsuke speaks perfect English. When I watch him at NXT, he's speaking perfect English. It's a little bit choppy because of how heavy his Japanese accent is, but the man understands and speaks English perfectly fine. The casual fan does not accept that. You must speak the same way I'm speaking right now for you to even remotely get over.
I don't think it's so much the casual fan. You don't give the casual fan enough credit.
I give them exactly the amount of credit that they need.
Well, let's back up for a second.
This motherfucker's trying to draw. He just wrote urine. Urine McMahon.
What's that say?
You're Yince McMahon.
Shut up. Don't mock my writing.
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon.
Yep.
That is the problem with the Shinsuke booking.
For sure.
And all the other booking booking issues that are happening right now.
As it is with every...
Because Vince is too old
other
school.
booking.
But because Vince is too old school, the fact that Shinsuke doesn't speak like you or I, or Vince, is a problem.
So, nice.
That was actually
So are you insinuating that the reason why we can't do the King of Strong style because
it's not a Vince McMahon idea.
this is.
You can't tell me he's not egotistical.
I mentioned this earlier on the feed that if it wasn't for the women's division being elevated as well as they were, I would have swapped to New Japan. Mm-hmm. That's not an exaggeration. I would watch NXT and New Japan. If the second you hit the main roster, I'm not watching you because the main roster people, for the most part, don't get anywhere.
Exactly.
Anymore. Like, you got, okay, now I will say, you got Seth, you got Roman, you got Dean.
That very first group of guys that came up.
The first group of guys that came up meant something to a certain degree. You got Sami Zayn, has not touched a title. You got Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well, hold on, let's stop for a second. Does Sami Zayn not touching the title? I'm just as hardcore as you are. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that to a very certain extent. Because when the day he finally does,
right,
it's going to make it all the more special.
Okay.
Now, granted, I would have loved him to win this match tonight. That would have been perfect.
That would have been awesome. But this is my thing. I'm not saying that he needs to be a world champion or a universal champion. Mm-hmm. The only title matches that I remember him being in were against KO.
And Cena.
And Cena the one time, which was fantastic. Mm-hmm. For the U.S. title, he's never challenged for the Universal. He's never challenged for the World. He has not challenged for the Intercontinental.
What happened to Sami Zayn, I think what was very detrimental to him, is he comes in, he has that stellar match with Cena. Mm-hmm. He's got the backing of everybody. Mm-hmm. And then he gets hurt. And he was hurt for a while.
Right.
I think that killed his momentum. And by the time he came back, everybody was kind of like, oh, great, Sami Zayn's back. But nobody had... Vince had kind of moved on from it.
Okay.
The influence of...
The last part I will agree with you on. The first part I don't. When Sami came back, Sami was still a big fucking deal.
Fair point.
Now, this is what bothers me so much, and I mentioned this before in one of our older videos. It would be incredible, probably one of the best case scenarios. KO has won the Intercontinental Championship multiple times. Mm-hmm. He's a multiple time US champion. Mm-hmm. He is a Universal champion. The only title he has not won was the World Championship, right?
Yes.
He's never touched the world title.
Correct.
So, if Sami Zayn, and this is before KO even became the Universal Champion, I said this, if he were able to go to Kevin Owens and say, yeah, you may have won the Intercontinental title, I won the biggest title on the show. Regardless of what brand he's on. I won the biggest title on the show. You can keep all your bullshit. I was NXT champion before you. Now I've got the biggest title on the main roster. While you're sitting on the second seat, holding the secondary title, you're not as good as you think you are. And it starts off from there. That would be fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
The longer that you wait for this, and this is just my opinion, they're riding the good guy momentum from the underdog of the underground.
Yeah.
They think that because he's so over with most fans that it's fine, we don't need to put a title on him. He'll naturally just bring in people, which is partially true. But at the same token, if you didn't give Daniel Bryan his title at WrestleMania 30, what would have happened?
But that's not a fair...
Not fair.
Because, no, hear me out though. Hear me out.
Okay.
Because the wave, we'll call it, had already been so big at that point. If you want to have that, if you want to pose that question, if they would have never put the belt on him that night at SummerSlam,
right,
when Triple H turned on him,
right,
if that would have never happened, if they put the belt on Cena, Triple H turns on Cena, Orton cashes in, whatever,
right,
then the Daniel Bryan thing would have died right there.
No way. Absolutely not.
All right. Well, let me
absolutely not.
Because it wouldn't have gotten the overnight momentum that it did. Cena, he got screwed.
Okay.
It would have.
I will say this. I don't think that Sammy would have got as big of a pop. If you were to place Sammy with Daniel Bryan, he would not have got as big of a pop because he did not have that thing like the Yes Movement. Mm-hmm. The Yes Movement was a fucking game changer. But even if you were to replace Sammy with Daniel Bryan and everything played out the exact same way, Sammy would have been huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
How long do you think Sammy can go on the way he's been going since he's been in WWE on the main roster
He's been
before people just say he's just nothing but a mid-carder? Not going to care that much. How long do you think that they can ride that? Because Daniel Bryan had the yes movement on his tail when he went to that match with Sheamus because he kept randomly yelling yes.
And that was a slow start to it.
So it was a slow start to it, but Sammy doesn't have that.
Here, you asked me that question, how long can Sammy last? You're not going to like my answer.
I'm talking about with the momentum of the crowd behind him, match after match after match. And I'll let you answer, but I'm going to use examples.
How long has he been in? Because that already, has it been
WWE?
2 years?
2 years.
2 years? Okay. That really affects my statement.
Maybe a year and a half.
Let's call it 2 years.
Okay.
I'd say another 3, maybe 4. And I'm stretching on the 4 because what I look at is I look at guys like middle of Randy's career.
So we lost some power over here as far as the camera goes. Not really sure where we left off.
So let's bring it all back up to speed.
Okay.
We're talking about Sami Zayn. We're talking about how if his momentum when his momentum will falter.
Right.
I've said 3 years, maybe 4. We were talking about, Edge and how he got injured. He was really big, got injured, was off. My argument to that was, had Edge not gotten injured, he would have stayed on top. Because when we look towards the future, and that's actually when I realized the camera died.
Yep.
When you look towards the future, you have to assume that everybody's healthy.
Right.
Okay? So looking towards the future, I could see if he keeps going out and having matches like he's having, because he's not having bad matches. That's the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
If he was having bad matches, I tell you a year and a half.
Right.
Tops.
Right.
But every time he goes out there, perfect example tonight with the exploder on the apron.
Jesus. Kevin, don't die on me, man. Like, you make me
If
nervous.
he keeps doing stuff like that, then I can see him lasting a lot longer, because whereas people aren't invested in the character, they're heavily invested in, all right, what crazy shit is this guy going to do when he goes out to the ring now?
Let me counter that immediately.
Fair enough.
So, we know Dolph Ziggler, right?
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler puts on incredible matches day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about it in real person, not kayfabe, in real life, that he puts on great matches day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you think right now that Dolph Ziggler is a main eventer?
I would consider him a main eventer still.
Now, do you think Vince McMahon sees him as a main eventer?
That's a really good question.
There you go.
But
My point being is that we're looking at, okay, this guy is doing awesome matches, left, right, this, that,
But
and
we're
the
not
other.
talking about Sammy becoming a main eventer.
To be the champion or be a champion, you must be a main eventer to some degree.
Right, but there's no...
When KO won the Intercontinental title, he was a main eventer. Why? Because he was fucking with John Cena. That's the difference. Who has Sami Zayn fought and beat?
KO.
With how over, right? Outside of me, how over is KO? Really?
At that time?
I'm talking about now.
But at that time, you asked me, who has I'm having the same issue.
Who has Sami Zayn beat?
Correct.
Okay, so
At the time when he beat KO was on top. KO was hot.
KO was not on top.
He was hot.
He was
But he was still a main eventer. Either way.
But fighting one main eventer does not a main eventer make you. Do you see what I'm saying? If Sami Zayn fights Randy Orton, he's not and beats him, he's not automatically, whoa, Sami Zayn's a main eventer. You can't look it like that.
Right, but
We're getting heated as fuck. Okay, I'm bringing it back down. I'm getting heated. All right.
And again, we bring it all back for a second.
Don't do that again. That's too much.
No,
That's too much sauce.
It's too much.
Okay.
When it comes to Sami Zayn, as a wrestler, he's probably gonna go down as one of the best in the ring, inside that square circle.
Mm-hmm.
From a booking character standpoint, we'll call it the Bailey syndrome.
You can't compare the two. You can't.
No.
You can't.
Here's what I'm saying though. The character that they have, very one-dimensional. Okay? That's my problem with it. If they change up Sami, get him away from the underdog, from the underground, don't lose what's happening over here. Over here, by the way, is the ring. This is the backstage area.
Okay.
Don't lose what's happening over here, because this is perfect.
Right.
You need to change over here. You need to do something different in the regards of, don't just have, like, the goofy shit he was doing backstage, what was it, Raw?
Can I get to that? Can I attack that? Let me attack
Depends
that.
on how you're going to attack that.
It'll be short, sweet, to the point. That's who Sami Zayn really is as a person. That's a game changer. When you look at you compared him to Bailey. When you look at Bailey, Bailey got over because she's like a fan who finally gets to wrestle, right?
Mhm.
You look at Bailey's promos now, they feel forced. That's one of the reasons why she's not over anymore like she used to be. When you have Sami backstage talking to his teammates saying, okay guys, we need to strategize, and he keeps talking, and he's literally carrying the conversation because he's talking to himself.
But see, what
That's actually Sami.
What I've heard about Sami, though, in the back, is he's the guy that pisses other people off because he's annoying.
That's my point. That's Sami.
But that's not how.
But no. The fact is that
We're gonna
Sami's-
argue about this till the day we die.
We might, but I just want to make this clear. When I watch wrestling, I understand that it's staged, I understand that it's performance, but I like the people who have a genuine realness to them.
Agreed.
That's actually Sami. And the fact
I
that,
guess-
and to be fair, I listen to KO on podcast. I've watched him on interviews where he talks about Sami. He goes, dude, what you fucking see is really Sami. He talks your fucking ear off. He says, hey, can we do this? This is what we need to do in the ring. This is what we need to do. And I'm like, whoa, dude, we got this. We fought on 7 house shows. We know what we're doing. Calm down. But I can't, man. I'm just saying. That's actually Sami.
See,
and
and I
you
guess-
smiled at that because you understand that that's who Sami is as
I guess
person.
a lot of my. Well, no, that's because that's how I am, too.
That's hilarious, though. Like,
I
Sami's
think
greatness.
a lot of my problem, as of late, and we're slowly getting back to where I'm an all-around fan of the product.
Right.
A lot of the stories, either they feel recycled, they feel forced,
Mm-hmm.
the dialogue is terrible,
Right.
and they're not giving me enough information at the right times.
Okay.
Like, and again, different brand, but the Enzo being attacked thing, the Enzo and Cass being attacked thing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm over that story at this point.
I feel like it's running its course for sure.
They're giving, either they're not giving me enough, or they're giving me too much of the wrong stuff.
Right.
So I focus to keep me still interested solely on what happens in the ring.
All right.
So a lot of the dialogue and promos, that's why sometimes I tell you, I don't know what this is. I don't know why this is happening.
Yeah.
Is because it's very hard for me to watch that stuff anymore.
Right.
Because there's no, I don't want to say validity to it, but I've seen school plays better than some of it.
But that's my point. The fact that I've watched Roman Reigns interviews. When Roman Reigns was on Up Up Down Down, that's the most favorable. Oh no, sorry. When I listened to him on Talk Is Jericho, that was the most I liked Roman Reigns as of late because it's him. Jinder Mahal was on Talk Is Jericho. That's the most I saw Jinder Mahal.
See,
I like
I don't
Jinder
mind this
Mahal.
Maharaj thing they're doing.
I don't, and I'm trying to keep it on Sami. But my point being is that when I listen to it and then I see what's on TV, I'm like, okay, so I understand how the two players are linked, because the person that you're playing in the ring, and backstage, and the person that you're playing off screen,
Not
the person that you're being, the real person that you are, if they mix, I appreciate you more. I can look past your stupid promos if I see some realness into them. So now when I look at Roman Reigns, I don't hate him. I understand where he's coming from. When Jinder is doing his thing, I understand where he's coming from. When KO did his thing, when Gallows and Anderson did their thing, when Kenny Omega was on the freaking podcast, I understand them now. And it makes it better for me as a fan. When I hear people talk about Sami, and the person that they're talking about is the exact same character that I'm getting on TV, that makes me happy. Because that means that he's not forced, he's not faking, that's who he is. So, eventually, people will get tired of that.
Oh, I agree.
Right? Because
I
they're
don't
gonna be
doubt
like,
that at all.
God damn it, that dude is fucking annoying for real. Like, we cheered him, he puts on great matches, but fuck, he's annoying. So, you have to capitalize on that momentum now. I understand if they have a fear of doing that because of what happened with Finn Balor. They put all their eggs in one basket for Finn Balor. He got injured at SummerSlam, was gone for over a year. I understand.
Not over a year.
Or 7 months, 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, whatever. I understand the fear there, but Sami is a guy that I think is worth cashing in on now while the iron is hot. You strike while the iron is hot. And I feel like that if you wait 3-4 years,
I agree.
I don't know if he'll be as big.
You don't, and I'm not. When I say 3-4 years, I'm not. You asked the question.
I understand
of when I think people will get tired of him.
Right.
As far as when do I think WWE should cash in on him, give me a second. I'll tell you. Yeah, my phone wants to work. This is becoming anticlimactic.
So you're getting a small drum roll.
Yeah.
I'm just worried, man, that like you mentioned that you have to assume that everybody's healthy. I look out for worst case scenario, and worst case scenario is Sami Zayn getting hurt.
April 3rd, 2013. 2015, sorry. It's the day they should have cashed in on Sami Zayn.
Was that shortly after the Shinsuke thing?
That was the Shinsuke thing.
So you feel like they should have cashed in on Sami on the main roster immediately?
Because he was in the Money in the Bank that weekend.
Yeah. Who won that?
That.
Ryder didn't win the Money in the Bank. He won the Intercontinental
I'm sorry, he
Championship.
was that was the Intercontinental title match.
Right. WrestleMania, yeah.
So he should have won there, which we thought was going to happen at one point.
Right.
But that's where they should have cashed it on because it was WrestleMania
He had so
weekend.
much momentum.
It was WrestleMania weekend. That night, all eyes were on NXT.
Yep.
Whether you were a diehard NXT fan or
Casual
like I was
Yep.
at the time, and still kind of am.
Yep.
But that's where all eyes were that night.
That would have been.
And they watched Sami Zayn go up against, for the casual fan, a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
For the diehard fans, a god.
Yep. The king, not a god. Okay. Jesus.
And they did nothing with Sami moving forward from there.
Exactly. So now moving forward, that might have been one of Sami's best matches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
How often is that match going to be talked about on the main roster? It won't. Why? Because it did not happen on the main roster.
Well,
so can you name me outside of Kevin Owens, because they're going to keep revisiting that feud over and over again?
You talk about them alluding to that match.
They didn't allude to anything.
Not alluding to the match.
Right.
And I think WWE logic at this point.
Right.
Because now that Shinsuke's on the main roster, what's to say that they don't allude to it? And if Shinsuke had been in the whole part of this match tonight, and we had gotten a Shinsuke-Sami Zayn tussle, not just him whacking him with a Kinshasa and calling it a day, like you sit down and go home,
Yep.
I would be remiss to think that they wouldn't touch base on it. Because even though it was on NXT, it was still arguably the best match of 2015.
Right.
It was something that they talked about on the main roster shortly after, about how Sami Zayn had this knockdown, drag-out fight on the NXT TakeOver special.
Right.
And then showed up at WrestleMania, put on another hell of a match. You know, that was Sami Zayn's weekend.
Right.
To capitalize on that. And they have talked about it a little bit, not lately because it was 2 years ago.
Right.
You know, but now having Shinsuke back on, if they can find a way to weave those two together and create some kind of reason for Sami Zayn Nakamura 2, I would be very remiss to say they wouldn't bring it up.
Here's the thing.
But we're not going to get that anytime soon because you're going to get Nakamura Corbin, you're going to get Nakamura Styles.
Right.
Before you get to that.
Here's the problem now. Because we know WWE, unless you're a part-timer, is about faces and heels. Which means that in this scenario, one of these two needs to be a heel.
Figure out a way to link the two together. That was my comment. That's where I went with that.
But that's my problem. When Nakamura came in, he was a face. When Sammy fought him, Sammy was a face. On the main roster, they don't allow faces versus faces. For whatever reason. It's the dumbest fucking rule. There's no way that this match is going to ever touch this match. Not by a fucking long shot. There's no way. Because A, NXT gives them a lot more leeway because it's developmental. Stop it. And B, because now one of them has to be booed. And if you make Nakamura the heel, it'll be tough.
Here's where I argue that with you. WrestleMania 18. Rock and Hogan.
Not the same.
Hold on. I'm not the same caliber of match. By no means. God, no means.
Right.
Let's look at it on a piece of paper, though. Okay? You have The Rock, who walks into that match as a face. You have Hulk Hogan, who walks into that match as an anti-hero.
He was a heel. He was meant to be a heel.
He was meant to be a heel, but the way he was being perceived was just an anti-hero. Because that's what NWO
was.
That incarnation of NWO was at the time. You know, I was thinking back to WCW for a second. But nobody got really booed more than the other. They both equally got booed, and then the crowd at one point said, you know what, screw it, we're just going to cheer for both guys. Before we got that stupid both of these guys chant.
Yep.
God, I hate that chant.
Yep.
I hate it so much.
Both these guys.
But, so, you have that moment there. If they can figure, and again, that goes back to my comment, they can weave that magical web to figure out a way to give us the Nakamura Sami Zayn 2. Because let's be honest, you and I, we have watched 20 years, probably between us 40 years of wrestling. We're still not as creatively smart as the guys in Connecticut.
Stop it.
All right.
Stop. Have you seen some of the shit that they wrote, bro?
I didn't.
You said.
Right, fair enough. Let me revise my statement. Let me revise my statement.
Okay.
There are some people we are way smarter than.
For sure.
But
Can I stick on a pole match? Get the fuck out of my face.
The people that matter, I'd like to think they're a little smarter than us.
Right.
And so, that being said, they're going to know how to do that. Because you and I can sit there. You make Sammy a bad guy, that's dumb.
Yep.
You make Nakamura a bad guy, that's a hard sell. They tried it a little bit in NXT.
When?
No, sorry, wrong person.
Yep.
Wrong person.
Here's the okay. The only way that this would work, they would have to make Nakamura the heel and pray to every deity in the fucking universe.
Oh, we're using deities now?
Dude, you need multiple gods. One is not enough. Every deity in the world that he gets the AJ Styles treatment.
Yes.
Here's the problem with that. The way that they've been booking Shinsuke does not make me hopeful for that future.
No.
He's going to be another foreigner that's going to say, I'm going to speak in my language, blah, 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 because I can. And people are going to fucking hate him.
Now, to an extent, though, and it's a real huge stretch, Like, I mean, really,
Okay.
that's how you make him a bad guy.
He's the king of strong style.
I know
didn't
who
have to
he
do,
is.
He didn't have to do that in Japan.
I understand that.
Why the fuck would he do it now? That's so. Oh, listen, man. Listen.
What does that say right there? What's that?
I understand. Here's the thing. I've seen it. Anybody who's not American, who uses their own language in their own country to further themselves as a bad guy, I've seen it. I'm over it.
Did you not hear me say stuff's been recycled?
I know, but fuck, like, he's too good for that. Like, you could literally make him, I fuck people up.
He can't walk out there and say that.
I beat up people. In Japan, I was a king. At WWE, I plan to be a god. Let it go. No Japanese, I'm Japanese, you're American, no USA chant. No offense to that. Fuck that nonsense. It's dumb.
God.
It's dumb. Dude, it's dumb.
I agree.
It's
agree,
dumb.
But you can't say
I don't want them to take the
nationality.
international feud route.
I agree.
Oh my god,
Oh,
Shinsuke's fighting Dolph Ziggler. Remember Pearl Harbor? What the fuck? That has nothing. Dude, listen. That's what will happen. Well, you know, U.S. had to beat up Japan in World War II. Dude, that's my point, though. Like, you're laughing, and I'm smiling at this because you're laughing too hard. But no, listen, that's my problem with it. I don't want them to do that to Shinsuke.
I agree.
I don't.
Look.
We're gonna go on about this for a long time.
You-
we
you-
can end it whenever, but I'm
But
just
let's-
saying,
let's-
like, that's fucking.
You and I
mental.
agree on that on that part.
Part.
You and I agree on that. We don't want them to misbook Shinsuke. They misbook Sammy. Hopefully with.
If they fuck up Braun, dude, I will flip tables.
That's right, Braun.
If they fuck up Braun, I will flip tables.
Well,
Because they were fucking up Samoa Joe, but they brought him back. Not mad.
to that, you have Roman Reigns announcing SummerSlam plans tomorrow,
Fuck that
which
guy.
is dumb ahead of Great Balls of Fire. That being said,